Happy Thursday. It's May 8th, Thursday night, and we've got a good show tonight. We're going to spend 30 minutes with John Alley, our property assessor, explaining why the notices you got have gone up, which you know they're going up because the eggs are up. And then you go over here and we're going to talk to Jeff Cole about the real ID. Your driver's license needs a gold thing on it. If he didn't get a gold star on it, you're going to be restricted in what you can do. We're not sure exactly. We'll let Jeff talk about those restrictions. But more importantly, everybody's property taxes are going up in Anderson County. And if anybody really wants to complain about that, they're not being honest. Everything's more valuable. Try selling your home. You'll get double the money you would have got 7 or 8 years ago. But we want you to understand how the process works. Why did you go from 140 to 300, and this person went from 60 to 80 or 90 because they're in a depressed number? And how does that get applied to you? It's possible the appraisal of your home went up. Well, your appraisal of your home went up 100%, say from 150 to 300, possible, right? 150 to 300. And the only way you're going to pay more taxes, even though your home's worth twice as much, is if county commission decides to take that adjusted tax rate and throw some more taxes on you. So in the end, any increased money that you have to give the trustee, that's on county commission. Johnny, welcome.
Hello.
John Alley is one of the most respected property assessors in the state. He was East Tennessee Property Assessor of the Year in 2017. He was statewide Property Assessor of the Year in 2022, and has been an influence and a advisor and helper to newly elected registers of deeds. He's just done an outstanding job. I actually have a client running for that office, but not this time, right? Next time. But John's done a great job. He's done a great job, and we're lucky in Anderson County to have somebody with such experience. That's just it. But everybody's wrapped up in this a little bit. So when did the reappraise? You reappraise every 7 years, correct?
No, it's every 5 right now, but the next cycle is going to be 4. Different counties.
They're coming to get us. Yeah, because it's changing so fast.
States recommended changes to shorten the reappraisal cycle.
And that's one reason why you went up so much is it's been.
Well, it's been since 2020, and
COVID.
We in 2019 there wasn't that much growth, and we finished the reappraisal 12/31 of 19, and then in 2020 the growth started. So we've captured virtually 5 years of growth. And
it's probably as much as the last 2 years, right? Unprecedented.
Yeah,
right.
Unprecedented sale numbers and the numbers that the values.
Define sell numbers. You know what everybody thinks sell numbers are.
Sell numbers, the number of houses that are actually selling,
yeah.
And then the values that it are bringing are unprecedented as well.
Oh,
that's the reason for the increase in your property value.
Mm-hmm.
Buyers and sellers set the market, and we just take the deeds from the Register of Deeds office. We record those numbers. And then the state takes that and analyzes that data on the 5th year, and we've got a lot of input into it as well.
And let me say this.
Give you a new value.
John measures it. Regina, the trustee, collects it. I'm not sure, but I got a feeling Jeff Cole's making money somewhere in there, but I'll figure that out later in the second half of the show. I want everybody to understand, you cannot pay more this year than you did last year.
Well,
the minute... Correct me if I'm wrong after.
Well,
the minute John calculates everything from the revenue, and John's just measuring the market, that's all he's doing, and he gets it all set up, right? The county, now, I'm not being true. Somebody could pay 10% more, 20% more. It could be a small adjustment depending on what area you live in and stuff. But once Johnny decides that the average rate of the county, let's say, is 85%, if you didn't go up 85%, you won't see any adjustment. If you went up over 85, you could see a small adjustment. But just because your property value went up 80% appraisal doesn't mean you're going to pay 80% more. That's not how it works. John explained the process better.
Well, if your property value doubles, that don't mean your taxes are going to double. The certified tax rate has to go down because the county, I cannot bring any more property tax revenue to the county on the reappraisal year than I did the prior year.
What about new construction?
New construction's broken out, and it's given to the county. That's money they have to spend.
Yeah, I got you.
That goes to the finance department. But
where do values go up the most?
Well, there's no average because property values go up different all over the county. Certain subdivisions sell better. Lakefront properties, waterfront, riverfront.
Norris versus Marlowe. Just general topics. Oak Ridge, Mariners Point obviously went up, probably, right? Well, in downtown Clinton.
Yeah, there's a lot of areas that everywhere went up
A little bit,
this
yeah.
time. I mean, some went up a lot. So there's some people going to pay more, some are going to pay less, and then there's a whole lot that's going to pay really close to the same.
Right.
Depending
Regardless of what the appraisal is.
Yeah, because the overall county, because there's not an average, because we measure growth throughout the county.
Right.
And certain areas just, sell better than others.
Do you have them broken into like 12 different segments or 8? I mean, how
Not
do you
really.
look at-
You look at farmland, we look at residential
Okay.
sales, we look at subdivisions. A lot of times we'll break off big subdivisions together and analyze those and the lot pricing in there for those subdivisions. And land, bare land, we had the way vacant land, they call it, the way it's selling is it's virtually just like residential homes, it's almost doubled. The county as a whole
we
almost
own a
doubled
lot.
that.
We own a lot in one of the mountain rural communities. Maybe my wife and I do. My wife owns it actually, but it's it went up a lot. It went up almost double. You're right. It was underpriced though. Let's be fair. I mean, a lot of this stuff is undervalued. It needed to go up a while back. You just got
We
around
could have,
to
but
it.
we have to wait from
Yeah.
2020. We've not touched the values in the last 5 years,
Yeah.
so that's another reason.
I mean,
to
the
see big
migration,
increase.
the migration has caused it to go up. People are, and I was telling John Ford, I go around and talk to different election registrars and mayors and things around East Tennessee, and they're just overwhelmed with how many people have moved in here. It's like 30 or 40% in the last 5 years, and it's just amazing. And people are moving to the South for a lot of reasons. Weather's always been the big reason since the 40s, and mild seasons and everything. But also now it's just political. People just don't want to live where there's higher state income taxes and other things, so they come here to escape that and enjoy our beautiful East Tennessee and the rest of the state. But
And it is affecting our market as well. And I've done a lot of explaining. The vast majority of the people we're doing the call-ins right now, where people are coming to, if they think there's an issue with their value, they come to the office or they'll call. And with that, we're doing a lot of explaining. And every county around in East Tennessee is experiencing the same thing.
Yeah.
This is just our year. I think there's 17 counties in East Tennessee that are reappraising this year, and they're in the similar. Some are a little higher, some are a little lower, but right in the same boat.
so even
we're
though
in.
property assessors run every 4 years, they're not on the same reappraisal cycle.
Right, different
All
years.
right.
We're on Oak Ridge, and Rome County splits with Anderson County, the city of Oak Ridge. So several years back, they decided to join the same year so they could do the city all at the same time.
I remember that.
But and some counties are not just doing a 4-year reappraisal like we are. Knox moving to a 2-year. Blount County's going to a 3-year. Of course, they were on a 4. We were on a 5 and moving to, in Roane County, Molly Hardup, the assessor in Roane County, we got together and decided that for the best, that we'd take a small step and do a 4-year reappraisal.
That's smart.
It's less impactful on everybody, taxpayers
Well,
and the government.
they get a notice 2 years later, and they're thinking, I just got one of these.
Right.
So it's hard.
Right.
Yeah.
And with this, too, I wanted to mention my website. It's acassessor.com, and I've got videos that are on there that was developed by the Division of Property Assessments, and I downloaded those to the website so everybody could understand the process. And if you watch those, there's just 2 minutes. They're short, and they're to the point, and they explain how the whole system works, and especially the first 3 deals directly with the reappraisal.
Well, if you could, in Brad or Chandler, I mean, before the end of the show, I know it takes a few minutes, could we get acassessor.com on the screen, if it's possible? That's a pretty simple one, though, AC Assessor. Caps on.
That's why I made it that way, so it'd be
Yeah, smart. That's
to,
smart. acassessor.com. What are those video? How many video? What are they?
I've got 7 or 8 on there, but the first 3, they're just deal directly with certified tax rate, how the system works, how your property's valued, and what goes into it.
Right.
And then that there is no average. Everybody goes up different depending on where you are in the county. That's why the state mandates that we have the reappraisals to bring everything to current market value. Therefore, you're not paying more taxes or less than you should.
So once you decide what that rate is for my neighborhood, say if I live in Emory Valley, Oak Ridge, and you decide that that's where I'm at, you don't go house to house. You give a rate for that area, that zone appreciated rate.
Well, we blend it. Yeah, there's certain roads like the Turnpike might be a cutoff in this situation, or
Right.
Andersonville Highway.
Sure.
Just there's breaking points, but
And what do you base on? Square footage mostly?
well, it's condition, square footage. Then you got the land price that's included in the the.
How do you know that?
appraisal
Did you
value.
go to every home to assess condition?
And during a 5-year period, my staff is supposed to be at or, review every property in the county, about 25% per year.
It's on the screen now, folks. Is that correct, John? ACAssessor.com?
Yes.
Okay, great. Please go to that. Go ahead.
And
Thank you.
anyway, that's the crux of how we're out there every year. We've got a new mapping system. We've had GIS for 25 years. We were the first county in the state to get GIS. It's a map, and it's the way the system's going now. But we can use that as review. That's been approved by the state. But we like being out there and seeing the properties, and we put condition on there. And if new construction, we measure those and enter them into the card, give them an address. That's just some of the things we do, throughout the 5-year period. But a lot of that's a review. I got a review staff that's out every day, weather permitting, taking things off the card, adding things to the card. If you put a room addition on, or if you take a barn off or something off your property, we remove that.
You put a deck or something on there, right?
Do what now?
You put a deck on your house or something?
Yeah, if you put a deck on, we'll pick that up, or if you take one down, we'll remove it so you're not paying taxes on it. That's just the review for keeping our cards accurate and our property record cards.
That's good.
Yeah, and that's where the state pulls the data to come up with the new value. They take that with the sales and replacement costs, what the materials cost now to build a house versus 5 years ago. That's all included in the calculations through the state. And that's
John, before you go to the next thing, and before we go, and I want to talk about BZA and how it functions too. Let's take a break, Chandler. Let's get 3 minutes here and help our sponsors a little.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Feeling overwhelmed with your business finances? At P&L Business Services, we handle all your bookkeeping, payroll, and tax needs. From federal tax returns to QuickBooks training, we've got you covered. With over 25 years of experience, we provide customized packages to fit your business. Focus on what you love most, building your business. Let us take care of the rest. Call 865-294-4792. P&L Business Services, empowering you to grow your business.
Prescription drug misuse is a prevalent and potentially fatal problem. When people do not properly monitor, store, and dispose their medications, it can create an opportunity for misuse. Count it. Make it a goal to count your pills once every 2 weeks. Like it. Secure your medications at home. Drop it. Drop off unused or expired medications for proper disposal at any police department in Anderson County. For more info, visit asapofanderson.org. Brought to you by ASAP of Anderson. Prevention works.
Over 14,000 neighbors live in fear of becoming sick or injured and having to make a choice between putting food on the table or seeking medical care. The free medical clinic tries to take that fear away.
What do we help them with? We help them with diabetes, hypertension, any kind of medical need that they need that's necessary. And being in a community with the African American community lets them know that we're here.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
I said Board of Zoning Appeals. That's a completely different thing. It's the Board of Equalization that Johnny has. There's a little bit there we'll talk about, and then basically that's based on appeals and some other things if you don't feel good about it. I will say this, that John does great public service. If you watch these videos and you still have questions, call the property assessor office. They'll talk to you. Johnny will talk to you. We haven't talked anything about commercial, because obviously that's a major source of tax revenue, higher rates, bigger dollars. What is the split in the county? How much of our tax, 25 million, whatever we bring in, 25, 30 million, how much of it is commercial and how much is residential broken out? Just generally.
Well, I don't look at the tax as far as the way it comes in, so I don't really have an.
Well,
I don't have that in front of me. I could, go pull that data. And
I mean, that should be a one-line data. You should be able to pull it up and say, here's how much we collected this year, and here's how much we collected. So my question to you, though, is let's just do general. Is commercial more than residential?
I'd say it's probably a little less.
Yeah.
Because there's so many.
But substantial.
Yeah, we've got 39,000 residential properties.
That you on your assessment?
Yeah, and we've got about 4,000 personal properties, so that's the difference in the numbers.
I'm talking about,
but they're bigger numbers.
I'm talking about like the Plaza, Jackson Plaza versus Home. If you took commercial properties that are assessed at a commercial rate, would they be greater than the residential?
I don't think. No, I don't believe so.
There's not enough of them, probably.
Right.
Not. And a lot of those are there. Does Oak Ridge still pay? Because there's been so much growth in Andersonville and those areas. Does the city of Oak Ridge, because all our growth's been in Roane County, I mean, pretty much out that side. We're landlocked, on the Anderson County side. But I was thinking, it has. I don't know what I'm not just thinking about Oak Ridge, and I'm thinking, we've seen the growth in Oak Ridge, in Anderson County, Oak Ridge, that they've seen in other areas of the county? I mean, just your gut feeling.
Overall, I think everything's pretty even. I mean, you've got two major developments at Oak Ridge over at Solway there, and
I didn't think
next
of
to Centennial, and then you've got the one here on the ridge above Y12.
Yeah, I don't think about those. They're kind of out of sight, when you drive the turnpike.
You have really great views up there in some of those developments.
And they're high-priced houses, too.
They are.
We do a lot in Centennial in those buildings. I've got a lot of friends that live up there. And it's nice. I live in the old city. I'm an old guy. I live up on Orchard and New York Avenue in that area, and I love it. I grew up there. All right, so tell us how the Board of Equalization functions and why it exists.
Well, the Board of Equalization, right now, you get your assessment change notice, and if you think there's something that don't look right with the card, or you think there might be an error, you can call in. We'll do an informal review, and then there'll be another assessment change notice go out if we're able to change those. If you don't get a notice, that means it's going to stay the same. So you'll need, if you're dissatisfied with your value, then you would call to make an appointment to come to the local Board of Equalization, and that's a board of members that's independent from me. That Oak Ridge has, Mark Watson was elected by the city council to represent Oak Ridge, the city. And
after he retired?
Yeah, he just went in this past year.
Okay.
And this is his second year. And then we've got two people from Clinton and then two from up in the county. It's a informal board that people can come in and they can bring any evidence they want, pictures, recent appraisals, anything that would support why they think that their value's too high and needs to be lowered. And there's a couple that want their value raised. But that board is independent, and they can overrule our decision if we think we don't see anything, and the board will look at it, and if they deem it's different, then I don't have any influence. The board, they can override me or my office, and that's the people's voice. And I recommend people, if they think they're overvalued, then by all means, that's their avenue, that's their voice to be able to come to that board.
5 people serve on that board?
5 people, yes.
Okay, and it meets like by appointment or monthly? Or?
You call in for an appointment after you get that second notice, and usually by the call in if you can by the 1st of June to make an appointment.
When you say second notice, what do you mean by that?
Because the first notices have already gone out.
Yes.
If we making a correction on them, like I say, you've got me at 1.8 acres. I only had 1.5. We look, and they happen to be correct.
How many people do
we
that?
Adjust that, and it goes down, then they may be happy with their value and say, yeah, everything's fine now. If they're still not,
give them a shot.
So you get another card reflecting that change, and if that change is not satisfactory, then you call and make an appointment to come to the board and the local Board of Equalization. And then there's steps beyond that. If you don't agree with what the local board does, then you can appeal onto the state board, and the state will send up an administrative law judge. But usually we get a very few residential into those. Those are usually in your commercial industrial appeals when they're up into the the millions of dollars.
Has there been commercial growth over the last few years? Or?
Commercial. There's been some commercial buildings built, yes, and there's they're moving. We've had a couple of new companies move in this year. We've got 4 large industrial parks out in the county, and 3 included in the city, and then one here in the one.
15 years ago, we used to sit here and talk. Maybe it's not quite that long. Not you, but other people talk about the Oak Ridge Mall and going through deep, lowering values, raising values, and doing things. I think the town center stabilized, hasn't it?
I think it appears to me that it has, yes. I mean, the value's been going up too.
Yeah.
Just like it has countywide.
Oh, it should. Yeah. I mean, like those storage units over there, and then you got, that's a fancy place over there, and you got town center down here being built and different things going on. I think there'll be some good tax revenue generated from those places. I have a good feeling. But a lot of restaurants.
Right.
A lot of I mean, you look at that development. I don't know if Rick owns them right next to his apartments, but all that building down there on that land with medical urgent care, and we had a new restaurant. And I want to recommend that restaurant, by the way. First Watch. Am I saying it right, guys? First Watch.
That's
yes.
it. Uh-huh.
It's excellent. Breakfast or lunch up to 2:30.
Yeah, that whole area is
booming.
Developed. It's doing really well.
Yeah, I got buddies that are owners or managers in that area, and it's just I drove through. It was like a maze, and 1 year it's become a maze of occupied thing. Unbelievable how fast it's growing. And Oak Ridge is, and I tell Warren this all the time. It's we've gotten over that 30 barrier after 3 decades, and we're back to it, and we're probably in the 34,000 range at this point. I tell everybody that when I was playing college basketball in Murfreesboro had 30,000, Cookeville had 18, and you had all these areas, and now they all have 100,000 people. Murfreesboro probably 200,000, but they have all these people, and we're still sitting there at 28,000, 30,000, and that's part of that is perception, being happy to be in an energy bedroom community. Part of it's just our land is not as accessible to interstates as some of those places are, and that's a different thing. Do geographical rivers, interstate accesses, do those things impact property values?
Sure. Yeah, everything really affects property value, but the access to the I-75 on the other end of the county, that's a reason for the growth there. Mm-hmm.
But if I have a 1 acre plot of land, I guess you have to be on just over 75, you're still in Anderson County for a few hundred yards. If I have a 1 acre plot there, and I have a 1 acre plot in, I don't know, Pine Valley or somewhere, would the fact that that's near the interstate affect its value?
Yeah, it definitely affects value. I mean, the land was there, used to be 30, 40, 50,000 acres. It's 5 and 6, $600,000 an acre now in close proximity to the exit ramps.
Remember they first built Harrison's, it was a lot cheaper. Now it's a lot more expensive.
They've just got a new hotel in there, and then you've got Fox Toyota, Tractor Supply moved on the other side, Tommy Thompson's. It's that growth
Tommy's
up there.
Yeah,
Tommy's nice.
Yeah. You've done great. You've done fantastic. Anything else? What we got else on the sheet? We got about 5 minutes left.
Well, that's it as far as all the
questions. Bring it back up one more time, channel. ACAssessor.com.
Yeah, I just wanted everybody to know that if your property values go up 80, 90, 100%, then that don't necessarily mean that your taxes are going to double if it went up 100%. That's one of the calls that I've gotten most during this informal appeals is.
It's complex.
It is, and when you get that, it's like sticker shock. People look and they think, oh, my goodness, my property value has doubled, which if you own real estate, you want it to appreciate. You don't want it to go the other way, definitely. But it does, with the way the Tennessee taxing system's set up, the certified tax rate's designed to come down. When you multiply it on what the county's worth, it will bring in exact same revenue as within a few dollars of what it did in 24.
Only person that can make your property taxes go up this year, next year, the year after is your county commissioner.
Or city
Get
councils.
on the phone, or city council.
City councils. Yeah.
Get on the phone and figure out and tell your county commissioners no more property tax. You want the level held there. And they said they're already doing that this year.
Well, we
have good leadership with Terry. She's not a taxer anyway.
Well, they'll. By state law, there has to be a publication put in the newspaper, and there has to be a referendum to exceed the suggested certified rate, and that would be an increase. To go over the rate, what the state suggests will bring the same revenue.
Right.
So,
in other words, if the rate goes from $3.20 down to $1.90, because that makes the adjustment meet the law, that you can't collect more than the others. If they have to tell you if they want to take that not to 190 but to 240 or 220,
right.
They've got to let you know. County commission is the only one that can do that in the county. In the cities, obviously, that's another situation. Watch your city councils, watch your county commissioners, hold them to task. No property tax increases. Get them done. We've got elections next year if they don't do it right, But just get on the phone, call them. If you need to know who it is, just look it up. They're really well. John's done his job. He's done a great job. And We've got it out there. And you hear complaints all the time. I work a lot in D.C. all the time. Nobody's accessible. We can't get them. They're just too busy. They don't do town halls. They don't do anything. I wouldn't either in this environment, but they do all of this. But John done that. He's got websites. He meets with people personally when it's needed. He's got a good staff. You guys need to appreciate what we got.
Yeah, we're happy to meet with anybody if they've got questions about their value or just general questions in general, or if they question the amount for the value that's on their property.
One more thing. Tell me about Aspire. Do they pay taxes?
Certain areas of it do, and then certain areas are exempt right now. Uh-huh.
And
that's done through the State Board of Equalization. I don't have anything to do with it.
I know that. I was just curious because they are such a value to this community. I mean,
yeah, there's a lot of people likes it. A lot of
the sales tax revenue is going to be off the board.
But they've got some areas that's exempt, some it's in Greenbelt, and some that they're paying tax on. It's broken into different areas, and I think they're looking at shifting some of that, but I'm not sure right now.
Hope they need all the help they can get and all the breaks they can get. I'm just saying that for what they've done for this community. Let's go back to commercials, and we'll bring County Clerk Jeff Cole on next. Thank you so much,
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for coming.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
Prescription drug misuse is a prevalent and potentially fatal problem. When people do not properly monitor, store, and dispose their medications, it can create an opportunity for misuse. Count it. Make it a goal to count your pills once every 2 weeks. Like it. Secure your medications at home. Drop it. Drop off unused or expired medications for proper disposal at any police department in Anderson County. For more info, visit asapofanderson.org. Brought to you by ASAP of Anderson. Prevention works.
Feeling overwhelmed with your business finances? At P&L Business Services, we handle all your bookkeeping, payroll, and tax needs. From federal tax returns to QuickBooks training, we've got you covered. With over 25 years of experience, we provide customized packages to fit your business. Focus on what you love most, building your business. Let us take care of the rest. Call 865-294-4792. P&L Business Services, empowering you to grow your business.
Over 14,000 neighbors live in fear of becoming sick or injured and having to make a choice between putting food on the table or seeking medical care. The free medical clinic tries to take that fear away.
Bringing the healthcare, primary care out to our rural communities. I've had patients tell me that if it wasn't for us, they wouldn't be able to have any kind of health care. So us being able to go into these areas and provide that on-site care to these patients that can also come back week to week if they need for follow-up primary care, it is life-changing. It means a world of difference between actually life and death for them.
Welcome back. Now it's time for Jeff Cole. Every license plate you get, private, public, whatever, Jeff autographs it at the bottom. You can probably see that. I don't know how you do that, Jeff. That's incredible. Jeff's been a good friend of mine for a long time, 98 and 96, somewhere in there, and saw him rise in the ranks. He's another one that's statewide recognized. Been in there. When did you go in?
2002.
Johnny went in 06.
Right. That's
16 or 06? You went in commission first. 12. You've been in that long? Johnny's been in there a long time. 14 years.
He had hair when he started, so I don't
know.
Not much. A little more.
Yeah. But he don't need it. He doesn't need it.
He's good.
He's
did
good.
A good job explaining it. Sure.
But we're really lucky to have a property assessor that qualified and knows. And John's a smart guy. He's a business guy. He knows what's going on. On the other hand, there's you. So we have an issue with the real IDs. Nobody really knows what's going on. But the law says yesterday was the last day, May 7th, to be able to get your real ID. What do you do if you miss the deadline?
Well, we're going to keep issuing, real ID driver's license as of now. We've not had, like I said,
but it doesn't say you can't get one. It says you're restricted to fly.
Right. That and federal facilities.
That's right, because my nephew became a Marine, just graduated in Parris Island. My wife, Sabre, and my sister-in-law, Miss Ann, they had to have real IDs. They couldn't get on the base.
True.
They wouldn't let them on the base without a real ID. So you'll find some restrictions.
You will, and, that's kind of a volatile situation. We take our orders, obviously, from the Department of Safety, and they get theirs from the federal side, and you know how that side works. Sure. And, we'll be issuing them. We've been doing them now for about 6 years. And we're going to keep doing them till, we get everybody weighted on. You don't have to have it if you don't fly or have a need to go into these buildings. You don't have to have it.
Today, but they could change tomorrow.
It could, but
your staff did a great job. Oak Ridge, I'm just going to talk Oak Ridge off Emory Valley Road where your office is, in the old Daniel Arthur and right behind there. But I'm going to tell you, they did a great job. It took me 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Tell them what they have to bring down there.
Well, it's really not, like I said, you got to have your birth certificate or passport, current passport. Right. You've got to have your Social Security card or some federal issued.
Is these indoors or are these all?
No, you have to have the birth certificate.
And the birth certificate, you can't find your birth certificate, go to the health department. They can print you one.
Well, we print them off in the office there, too.
There you go. Jeff does it all.
We're a one-stop shop. And you have to have 2 proofs of mail of actual, like a car registration, electric bill, voter's card, those type things. And we identify those documents. They have to be certified documents. They can't be copies, obviously. We run into a little bit with birth certificates, the little hospital things, they used to issue those. I don't know if they still do those now. Those the state won't accept. And if kind of give a little, people, the people that I talk to, and I enjoy, they come into the office and we talk. I know we've talked a lot about it. If you remember, all this got started back in 9/11, which was about 25 years ago. Yeah. And matter of fact, we went to Nashville as clerks to talk to them about it because the original date was 2008. So, but all these states, and Tennessee, I will brag on our state. We were one of the top 6 states to get compliant. We were ready to go in 2008, but President Bush pushed it back, President Obama, President Trump, and then President Biden did. And we thought President Trump this time would give us a little bit more reprieve, but they just went ahead and did it. And honestly, I'm kind of glad we're at this point because we need to get past that date. And then if they do change it, from now on, they'll tell us how to fix it. But
and how they recognize that is there's a little gold star right there in the right hand.
Well, it started out gold star. Now it's a black and white star, but it'll be on the upper part of your upper right hand corner of your driver's license.
I don't mind showing mine.
That's
cover
fine.
The key numbers.
Now yours might be gold.
Mine's gold.
Okay.
I wouldn't accept anything.
They updated that change about 4 months ago. I'd say yes. It's right there.
Don't show that. I'll show it. Okay, You'll be giving away too much information.
Well, it's up here at the top.
Cover the other
it's just right up there at the tops where it's at.
All right.
You're fine.
But anyway, if you get a driver's license, it's going to be up in the upper right-hand corner above your address.
Right, and that's
how they know.
That's how they know. And what that does is that is sent to a database, and those documents, and to kind of go back to that little history lesson, the hijackers from 9/11 didn't have, some of them had driver's license and they were not verified, and that's how they got in the country, and it was just an awful time with that tragedy we had, as everybody remembers. So that's how all this started. And like I said,
but don't illegal immigrants have access to driver's license in Tennessee?
No,
they come in to see you and want to drive a regular driver's license.
Well, they have to have the documents, but they're not going to have the documents because they're illegal. So no,
what's the documents to get a regular driver's license?
The same. Gold star. Well, we don't handle that end of it, but basically the same stuff: the birth certificate, I
never had to do that.
Do what?
To get a non-gold regular driver's license.
You do for first time. I'm talking about first time. I'm talking about first time. Yeah. Well, that's what I was getting ready to say.
Well, I had to get it out of my tractor. I forgot.
So like I said, we don't handle that end of it. We just do the renewals and the duplicate parts, and they will let us do the real ID. In the beginning, 6 years ago, they wasn't going to let the county clerks do them. They were going to make you have to go to the state office, and they found out real quick. There's about 40 county clerks that do DL statewide out of 95, and we were one of the counties that were willing to do it. And like I said, we've done driver's license for 20 years almost, ever since I first got elected. So
yeah, we used to have to go to the
state office before.
Patrol.
Yeah, and like I said, you can come to our offices, or you can still go to the state office right there by Tractor Supply too, here in Oak Ridge.
Yes.
So you can do it, but like I said, it's been a very busy time these last four. It's been busy for 6 years, but it's really been busy the last 4 or 5 months with it.
I can imagine.
Trying to get everybody right, exactly,
and get it all done. Okay,
exactly.
That's good. What else you got on the agenda we can talk about today?
Well, we do our birth certificates, which some people don't know about that, and that's been a service that I had to go to Nashville about 10 years ago, I guess, with some other clerks to get that started. And we do about 50 or 60 a month on that.
Wow.
We're very busy with
600
yeah,
birth certificates.
Yeah, and that's been a very good
You're not birthing
service.
Anybody, you're just getting the records.
Right, yeah. We can't change anything. We're just basically, printing a copy. As a matter of fact, I've lost my birth certificate, and I've got to go get one myself. We do that, and we do the passports. It's just really, Johnny mentioned about the new people that's moved into Anderson County. We have the titling the cars. We've had them come in.
You should be able to tell growth. I mean, how many licenses you issued in the past?
Well, matter of fact, I checked that a couple of weeks ago. We renew right at 85,000 cars a year. Now, I've got 3, so that's some of that is multiplied in a household. But yes, our residency increases has just been so busy the last really 3 or 4 years. We've had California, we've got a lot of Michigan coming in, we've had some in Illinois, and just like you said, a lot of it's lower taxes, easy access.
I forgot to ask John about foreign companies and foreign people buying land in Anderson County. You told me a few years ago there was a lot more of that going on.
I'm not familiar with that.
They're trying to stop it, I think. I don't know if they got the bill through or not.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's and Tennessee is a very easy state to get your car registered. You basically just need your title.
What if my birth certificate was from France? I was born in France.
Probably we'd need to call Chuck.
But there are a lot of people that are in this area, energy
right.
efficient. I know they have driver's licenses, so somebody's got to get them.
Yeah, they, like I said, they don't really give us access to, and I didn't want that access because that was that was more staff, more time constraints.
It's a security issue.
Yeah, and the big thing is the security. They wanted it, I wanted it, so that was one. And there's not a lot of clerks that they basically just do the renewal process and the duplication if you needed to get a duplicate DL. But yeah, I'm sure they do, and some of them's on visas and things like that, and that's a totally different thing than what we do. Some of the older clerks that are still here, they ask some of the clerks like us, our county, that do these additional services, because we do 18 different services. We do a lot of stuff.
Let's talk about those 18.
Just
give me a list.
It's just crazy. Well, we do the business licenses, we do the marriages, we do boats, we do hunting and fishing licenses.
Wow.
We take care of all the county commission minutes. We do notaries. We do the passports. We do hotel motel tax, which that was changed here a few weeks ago. The rate, matter of fact, it's gone down some. It's 4% now, where it used to be 5%, and that runs our tourism and things like that. You remember those days.
Oh, yeah.
Just all the car registrations, the renewals, the beer permits. Just so much stuff that we're involved in. We keep all the purchasing contracts on file. We handle all the oaths and bonds. So just a busy thing that the state requires us to do. And we see about over 100,000 people a year.
100,000 people.
Yeah.
What's the breakdown in your 3 offices?
As far as staff or business, or
customers? Half your business?
I'll be honest with you. We see more people probably in Oak Ridge, face to face. The main courthouse is where we process a lot of our mail and stuff. I mean, we're helping customers.
Do you have a kiosk in?
We have a kiosk in Oak Ridge,
I know that.
and it has been a big hit. And we. All of us officials talked about that during COVID. We've all got the platforms for technology. And when the courthouse, as you remember, shut down for those 7 weeks for safety, we moved all of our stuff to the drive-throughs.
When did they close down for 7 weeks?
It was probably,
COVID
probably the end of March, 1st of April, and then we opened back up that first part of June. The courthouse.
Dr. What's his name? Appreciates that.
Fauci, yeah. Well, like I said, the courthouse was there. The workers were there working, but the public couldn't come in.
Oh, that's right.
And you remember all that.
That's right. Now it's coming back.
And all of our platforms from all of our elected officials, they work because everything that we've got's online. You can get your forms, you can do a marriage application, you can pay your business, your activities license online.
Did you close in Oak Ridge too?
Yes, and we did the drive-through, and
that's good.
And that was, like I said, that was hard. The only office that it really affected was our Norris Andersonville office, where me and Regina shut down, and that brought everybody into the courthouse. But all of our platforms work, and that technology piece was so important because when I got elected, we were the 6th county in the state to get a website. So we were kind of spearheaded all of that, and we were glad to do it. And now it's just took off. Everything's took off.
Going more
that's just where it's at.
Well,
like I said, the license plates are always big.
Tell us about that. You can get one with the. My wife has a Predators one.
Okay.
Because she didn't want that blue or black or whatever it was.
Right.
What other things can you get? Obviously, there's some religious ones.
There's a lot of sports teams out there. We've got a lot of the SEC football teams.
How about those Knicks? You got one for the Knicks?
No, I'm not happy about that.
He's the Celtics man.
I told my son last night he was coming in. My son teaches Norris Middle School golf, and they're getting ready for matter of fact the regions this week. And
if you ever go to Jeff's office, it's all Cowboys and all Celtics.
I like my Celtics. And I said, how do you lose a 20-point lead? Yeah. That just drives me crazy.
Game one.
Well, it was. But Knicks are tough.
They're better in game two.
But there's a lot of sports tags. We have the Choose Life. We have the hunting and fishing plates. Mm-hmm. My son's got a Braves tag that's a personalized, and that's $100. If you get a personalized Predator, Braves, whatever, personalized, that's $100. If you just get the standard personalized, it's $65.
What are some of those? The $65.
Well, it can be a Braves tag, it can be a UT tag.
What do you mean it's personalized? It's got his name on it?
Yes, my son's got his last name on it there, like that. My sister's got a personalized tag, and hers has got her name on it.
Who I think the world of it. That's expanding that ego a little further.
It is. Well, I wouldn't.
Plus, if you're a public official, you don't want your name on there.
No. Years ago, they tried to get clerk tags. I said, no, I'll pass.
Yeah,
I don't want that.
Yeah.
But
we had that with judges. Everybody get a judicial tag, but a few people turned them down because they didn't want anything to do with them.
I understand. Yeah. But like I said, the car registrations and stuff, we actually print about 45 to 60,000 titles a year, which is really big in our county. And Anderson County is a mid-sized county. It's anywhere between 80 and 90,000 now population.
You think we're already?
So last I looked about a month ago, I think we're right at about 84, 85.
Let me tell you, folks, when they hit 100,000, everybody has to be paid more. The county commissioners get $25,000 a year instead of $7,000. It's big when they get up.
Yeah, and we're close. I'll tell you, years ago, a county that's really grown the last 25, 30 years, and you know this, is Blount County. It's huge now, and they've got all that property out there by the lake and the river. It's just beautiful.
I do a lot of work in Bradley. It's 150.
Bradley's big too. Yeah, Bradley's huge, and that's just part of growth. That's the people coming in and farmland, and I like the growth, but I hate to see the farmland go too.
Yeah, of course, that's because we're farming. We come from that era,
that's just where we're at. So
that's good. That's fantastic. Hey, Chandler, let's take a break, and then we'll come right back and finish up with County Clerk Jeff Cobb.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Feeling overwhelmed with your business finances? At P&L Business Services, we handle all your bookkeeping, payroll, and tax needs. From federal tax returns to QuickBooks training, we've got you covered. With over 25 years of experience, we provide customized packages to fit your business. Focus on what you love most, building your business. Let us take care of the rest. Call 865-294-4792. P&L Business Services, empowering you to grow your business.
Prescription drug misuse is a prevalent and potentially fatal problem. When people do not properly monitor, store, and dispose their medications, it can create an opportunity for misuse. Count it. Make it a goal to count your pills once every 2 weeks. Like it. Secure your medications at home. Drop it. Drop off unused or expired medications for proper disposal at any police department in Anderson County. For more info, visit asapofanderson.org. Brought to you by ASAP of Anderson. Prevention works.
Over 14,000 neighbors live in fear of becoming sick or injured and having to make a choice between putting food on the table or seeking medical care. The free medical clinic tries to take that fear away.
What do we help them with? We help them with diabetes, hypertension, any kind of medical need that they need that's necessary. And being in a community with the African American community lets them know that we're here.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
All right, we're back. Welcome back to Between the Lines. Thursday, May 8th. Everything's going well. We just need to get our county government's one of the best there is. They're just the commissioners, the mayor, everybody, our sheriff. I mean, just and fee offices get overlooked a lot, and service offices like the court. Let's talk a little bit about new changes, improvements, what you've added.
Well, the kiosk has been really big down here at our Oak Ridge office. And matter of fact, I'm going to budget this week to ask for one to put in around the courthouse area.
Good.
And we'll be able to share that with our trustee, Regina.
Yeah.
Me and Regina
One of my
Copeland,
favorites. One of my
we have such a good working relationship. We share the Oak Ridge office. We share the North Andersonville office.
Yeah.
We cross-train our staffs to help with cost on that. Regina does an excellent job as well, her staff. And we work real well together. And this kiosk will be able to take property tax event. The software is not exactly there yet. They're about 4 or 5.
Let me interrupt you. There's your website, right? What do I find on that website?
AndersonCountyClerk.com. It has all of our services. Like I said, you can fill applications out. You can print forms out. It gives you all our services that we do. It even links to other offices throughout the county, as Alan said. We just want to work together.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we're here for. When I first got elected, and you know this well, you know, one of the first things I said was, you know, I'd worked there 10 years before, so I had a working knowledge of what didn't work and what did work. And that gave me a head start, because if government doesn't work for our people, then why are we here? You know, now that's kind of a common sense thing.
And
but
work efficiently is
you're
the
right.
real issue, and are we getting a return on our money?
And that's what we did. And you know, the websites, the kiosks,
Folks,
the drive-throughs.
I'm going to tell you. Excuse me, interrupt. I'm going to tell you, government's easier. The whole world changed with one law: internet taxes. Mm-hmm. They got $20 million in reserves in Anderson County, roughly, up or down. We were struggling with 800,000 in the old days, remember?
Oh, yeah, I do.
A mill 2, a mill 4. We put a cap, couldn't spend, had to have at least 3 or 4. Now there's just a lot of money, and that's the taxpayers' money.
Well, you remember back in the days, way before we really got there, was they had to borrow money to pay payroll a couple years. You know, we wasn't there yet, but that was some things. But one of the biggest things, it's knocked the doors down, and that leads it to what I'm getting ready to share. is I've been appointed chairman of the electronic lien committee for the clerks, and what that basically is in layman's term is if you buy a car today, we will be able tomorrow perfect that lien for the banks.
Yes.
Where before we'd have to process it, print out a paper title, mail that to the bank. So that's going to help with postage.
So even if you own the vehicle, you still owe the bank until you pay it.
Right, exactly.
And they'll be able to.
And we'll be able, and you've got like 20 days for the dealership to perfect that, but now we'll be able to turn it the next day or even the same day if we get the paperwork.
Why that helps you, and not just the bank, is you can make sure everything's correct.
Exactly.
It's not just a piece of paper and a file.
Right.
You can actually go online and see.
Right.
You can go online.
Yeah, you'll be able to call us, and we can pull it up, check it, verify it. It's more efficient, and all of this has to take place by next summer, 2026. So we've got, and I'm having a meeting next week with some of our committee members about that and our software vendor about that. So hopefully we'll have something to test probably early fall this fall. So we're really excited about that. And again, it gives Anderson County a place at the table on this early, rolling this out. And that's what I like to be able to take my experience to be able to help our state as well as our county to make sure we're being efficient with our dollars and make sure that we're meeting the technology piece because like you say, technology has just, revolutionized everything in government.
It's made it quicker.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Argument 30 or 40 years ago, robotics will eliminate the need for certain efficiencies, and it has. I mean,
right. There's no doubt. No doubt.
I mean, in a technology world, you got to have it. And our education was, and my son and I debate this all the time. He doesn't see a lot of need for conventional education because it really doesn't apply anymore. Technology.
Isn't that amazing? 30, 40 years ago, that wasn't the way it just,
And I think, but part of the problem is people like you and I, we have expectations. You need to go graduate from Carson Newman, you need to go graduate from UT. And I think in the end, I'm not sure. I'm at a point where I look at it now, as long as you're learning and doing things. But in the real world, you got to have a degree from somewhere.
You do.
Get a online degree from. Nobody's going to question anything. Anymore. Just
that's where it's going.
I think you can go all the way through Rome State without going to school.
Well, my son just graduated Middle Tennessee State, and he took a lot of online classes and stuff. And that's just and that campus, we went down for graduation at Christmas. I hadn't been down there, and that place is huge now.
Oh yeah,
that whole area.
I want to say we filled the gym up when it wasn't huge.
Yeah. Well, it's just huge, but yes, it's technology, it's internet,
and it's also at Middle Tennessee. Also, we just got a lot of flat land. That's a huge campus.
It is. And the thing about the websites for all of the officials, everybody in the courthouse has one, is it gives you 24/7 to your government. And that's important.
Yeah.
I get emails that come in, 10, 11 o'clock at night. I usually check my emails before I go to bed, and not all the times, but a lot of times I'll, return the email right then and get, because people are working late, they're coming in late, and that's what I like the most is being able to talk to them on the phone.
The emails are sent to the site.
Right, they're sent to site, and they come directly to me, and then I'll review them, and either I'll answer them or I'll send them out to the staff to get it done.
Everybody's different.
So I want to know what's coming in, because we're not perfect. I mean, we wait on over 100,000 people a year. I had a lady get frustrated a few weeks ago about this Real ID stuff. And and I said, ma'am, we'll do anything we can for you, but it's state and federal law, and the software locks you out. If we can't verify that birth certificate, then we can't go forward.
Right.
Back in the day when you hand wrote stuff, you could put a comment on there, verify it, and go on.
Not that long ago.
Yeah, but not anymore, because all the software has those checks and balances now, and that's just the way of the world. Just the way of the world.
How many more licenses are you giving out a year than you did, say, 4 or 8 years ago? How many more cars are on the road?
Well, like I said, we renew about 85,000, and when I first got elected, we were renewing about 68 to 70,000, and then the titling part of it, we're probably up about 15,000 more, I would say. Not a bunch, but it is a bunch, you know.
Now I'm going to bring up a subject you don't want to talk about, but we're going to talk about it anyway. And you have been opposed to this the whole time. I'll make that perfectly clear.
Yeah, make sure.
Well, you know where I'm going. Okay. So a lot of cities and places, and very popular in the bigger cities, is to put a wheel tax on people. That means if you own a car, you pay a fee for owning that car, and that goes with the title. We pay so much already. You know, you figure it out. Go by 60,000, right? If you've got a $20 wheel tax, the low side. Okay, so 80,000. So you take and you pay. Get a wheel tax. 20's low in these days. Everybody's doing 40 and 50. But say you do $50 to drive that car. It gets expensive when you got 4 cars. But $50 times 90,000 a year. I start adding that up. That's like $5-6 million. So it's intriguing to people. They want to look at that. It's also been suggested, which has nothing to do with you, that we put a corporate tax on the people that work here that come into town. You know, which I have paid in Pittsburgh and I've paid other places. Are there anybody still talking about a wheel tax? Do you ever hear anything about it?
I've threatened them all. I hope not. Like I said.
But with all the money we pay, it's really not that much money.
Like you said earlier, you know, the internet tax has been so huge of late and stuff. And you know this, we had all the, this wasn't the official term for it, but COVID money that the federal government gave out the last 4 or 5 years. So there's not been a cry for that, and again, and you said it earlier with Johnny, you know, we have commission and the mayor and even the fee officers and stuff like that. All of us, we truly present these budgets to try to be revenue neutral and things like that, not to go up. Fee officers are a little bit different because our fees pay for our office, which that's what you want. And all of our fees are set by state statute and things. So, we don't have really a say on what to charge and what not to charge. But Anderson County is a very efficient county like that. I mean, you know that firsthand.
And I'd be critical if it wasn't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We all would. And and that's what I tell people. I pay taxes too. So,
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I'm not. I've never been for a wheel tax. I won't ever be for a wheel tax, and like I said, we are in a good spot in our county because I do think we are conscientious about our dollars and where to spend.
And we've added $4 or $5 million in revenue a year just on
and that's big.
The internet tax.
Yeah, that's big. That's big.
I can remember in 08, 09, we could order something from Indiana, we didn't have to pay tax on it.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
Then it got better. And then it got better.
They got wise.
Then we figured out another way, and then finally technology caught up to the point where there's no way to even move it in. It didn't cost them a lot to charge and file. Right. See, part of it is you own a business in Indiana and you send a $100 gift here, and you have to pay tax on it manually. You got to file in Tennessee. You got to go there. Now you don't do all that's captured. It's a better world for that.
That's
all right,
correct.
2 or 3 minutes left. The Cowboys are trying to come out of the funk, but it's bad. My good friend General Stephen Hatchett and Attorney General Stephen Hatchett and Bradley just refuses to watch anymore.
I don't watch them much anymore. Matter of fact, I would probably be hard. I think it's Schottenheimer's their coach. I think they're heading their new head coach. I'm not even sure.
They fired the guy? I didn't know they fired him.
Yeah, they didn't renew his contract, and Schottenheimer, I think it's his son. I remember his dad.
I know what you're talking about.
He's the coach.
He's an offensive guy.
And they fired the Chicago coach, defense, or the head coach, and
But the Green Bay coach has been there for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone.
They just didn't renew his contract.
They didn't renew his contract, right? And then they fired the Chicago coach, and Dallas went and hired him as their defensive coordinator. So I don't know. I love them, but they're just I just don't know. They just don't have a lot of opportunity.
I don't understand it either. Got more money, they got more talent. I think it's just playing in the fluff of Dallas and the America's team and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they're that anymore. I mean, I think Kansas City and the Eagles. But Kansas City's one of the smallest markets in the
they are, yeah.
Any advice for how much time? 1 minute. What do you want to say?
Just thank you for the opportunity. Like I said, call our office. You can, like I said, email off AndersonCountyClerk.com, and you can call us at 865-457-6226. That's a direct line. You bypass the switchboard. If you've got a question on Real ID, passports, birth certificates, whatever, we will definitely try to help you and get you an answer quickly. And I'm just glad to come back. I enjoy coming. I come down a couple times a year.
Yeah,
so.
we try to get it
Good.
done. But we had some stuff going on with Real ID.
Right. I
and
appreciate
Johnny,
it,
we
yeah.
appreciate you. Thanks for watching, you guys. It's been great. And we appreciate you. Between the Lines, Thursday nights at 7, every Thursday. Still got 15 seconds. I guess I got to say something else. I want to remind people that we now, even though we're on a TV channel, 10086 with the nonprofits, we now are on every Comcast set in Knox County, Anderson County, Cumberland County, Roane County. We can get to a lot of people. So